אקריא פה עוד קטע אחרון לפני שנסכם על דמותו של קלדה. I had put aside the cards when he sat down, but now, thinking that for this first occasion our conversation had lasted long enough, I went on with my game. "The 3 on the 4, said Mr. Cullotta. There is nothing more exasperating when you are playing patience than to be told where to put the card you have turned up before you have had a chance to look for yourself. It's coming out! It's coming out! He cried. The 10 on the knave! With rage and hatred in my heart, I finished. Then he seized the pack. Do you like card tricks? No, I hate card tricks, I answered. Well, I'll show you this one. He showed me 3. Then I said I would go down to the dining room and get my seat at table. Oh, that's all right, he said. I've already taken a seat for you. I thought as we were in the same stateroom, we might as well sit at the same table. I did not like Mr. Cullotta. Notice the narrator wants to stop the conversation and play cards, but Mr. Cullotta won't let him play alone. He keeps getting into the game himself, and the narrator feels rage and hatred. רגשות אולי קצת מוגזם בהתחשב בסיטואציה. Okay, so now that we have met Mr. Cullotta, let's look at our chart of the typical British person and let's see how Mr. Cullotta fits in. Typical British stereotype is white skin. Mr. Cullotta, dark skinned. Neat hair. Mr. Cullotta, sleek and curly. Sleek, זה קצת מבריק. It's a little bit, has a little bit of shine, which gives you a little feeling that it's not clean, and curly is not maybe quite as neat as straight hair. Typical British straight nose, and Mr. Cullotta has a fleshy hooked nose. אף גדול, flesh זה בשר, זה כאילו בשרי. hook זה וו, משהו עם עיקום באמצע. אז אף לא ישר הוא אף עקום. Typical British is tall, Mr. Cullotta is short. Typical British is polite. Mr. Cullotta is a little bit pushy. pushy זה כאילו קצת נודניק, דוחף את עצמו קדימה כשלא רוצים אותו. Typical British is formal, and we see he is not formal. For instance, the narrator says that he doesn't call me Mr. כן? הוא אינו קורא למספר מר פלוני, אלא רק פלוני. And the narrator doesn't like that. Typical British keeps her distance, whereas Mr. Cullotta wants to be close to people. He introduces himself, הוא מציג את עצמו למספר. Afterwards, he saves a seat for the narrator, הוא שומר לו מקום בחדר אוכל, אפילו בלי שהוא מבקש ממנו. He's trying to get close to people. He also gives the narrator a drink to get close to him. I added this later. British people, we think of talking slowly, whereas Mr. Cullotta spoke with a fluency in which there was nothing English. That's a quote from the story, זה ציטוט, שהוא דיבר במהירות שאינו אופייני לאנגלי. British people, we said, don't use their hands to talk. Mr. Cullotta says his gestures were exuberant. השתמש בתנועות ידיים בהתלהבות. British people, we said, are cool, don't show emotion. We saw that Mr. Cullotta, even in the card game, it's not even his card game, and he's getting excited and saying, it's coming out, it's coming out. הוא מתלהב בזמן משחק הקלפים, אפילו שזה לא הקלפים שלו, ואנחנו רואים את ההתלהבות שלו, את הרגש שלו, הוא לא מנסה להסתיר את זה. And last, he British people understate things. הם מדברים בלשון המעטה. What is the opposite of that? Exaggerating. For instance, he says he's got all the liquor in the world. הוא מגזים. טוען שיש לו את כל המשקאות בעולם. And of course, that is an exaggeration. So, in other words, he is just about as different from a typical British person as possible in all the different criteria. בכל קנה מידה הוא מאוד שונה מהאיש הבריטי המצוי. In a moment, I will put this whole chart up in on the screen so that you can see it and pause it. Maybe you want to copy some of it.